And I'm curious, have you had any other thoughts about automating your lead generation? Any specific concerns I could address about the approach we discussed? Yo, this guy is a hundred. I can't even. I don't have the words for it. This is account executive. You're getting this for pennies. If you're not using this, you're gonna lose. What's going on, guys? This is Sip. In this video, we're testing out Fireflies AI. It's a tool designed for Zoom meetings. So as soon as you have a Zoom meeting, this comes up and it automatically records the conversation you're having. Now, as you can see, I just had a call with a prospect here, right? The call ended with, the prospect saying, oh, he has to talk to his wife, these things of that nature. So what I did, I copied the transcript of this call, right? I went to Claude because I hear that Claude is one of the best ones for analyzing long scripts and text, which I pasted. As you can see, ChatGPT, most likely you can't really paste something that long, or I've tried in the past, sometimes it's a little bit long. So we're testing out Claude for this. I want to see what exactly it says. I asked it to basically analyze the call that Sepp and Robert just had. Sepp wasn't able to close Robert on the call, and I wanted him, Claude, to act as a veteran account executive, what he would have done differently, and how would he be able to close this call, right? The reason why we didn't close this call, we could have been more aggressive, first of all. We decided not to because sometimes you just want to be chill. There's no aggression, no needed, right? Especially if it's a new offer you're building out. You can be Wolf of Wall Street and try to hammer them out, drag them and pull them. But sometimes you just decide to just chill, just have a conversation. This guy, in this case, Robert was a very chill guy, chill dude. He was a chill guy, kind of like the meme. I decided to just kind of take it easy, let him have, and think about it. The rebuttals he was saying, I got to talk to my wife, this and that. So let's see what Claude exactly has to say. So looking at this conversation between Sepp and Robert, I see several missed opportunities in areas where more experienced account executives could have taken a different approach to increase the likelihood of closing this deal. Here's what I would have done differently. Okay, let's see what it says. Okay, better discovery phase. Sepp jumped into the pitch too quickly without truly understanding Robert's specific needs and pain points. Exactly. All right, that's pretty cool. I would say that's true. I got into the features and those things, as you like to say. So let's see what it does. Let's continue reading on, and then we'll give an analysis what we think about it. Ask more detailed questions about Robert's current business metrics, number of transactions per year, average commission, specific goals. Okay, these things we don't do, or I have not been doing. I do ask him specific goals, but in the past, I've noticed when I ask sometimes transition, some people get offended. Maybe they're just not there. They freeze up. They don't want to share that information. So maybe that's why I stopped asking for the transactions and all these detailed questions. But as an experienced rep, this might make sense. So let's see what Claude has to say more. Explored his exact frustrations with his current lead generation efforts. Okay. So Robert was saying that he gets leads from referrals, from his contacts and things of that nature. What I didn't do was get his exact frustrations. So when I heard that he was okay, I said, oh, you're okay, but let's do something better. So I think this is actually a very good point that Claude has here for us. We didn't get into his current frustrations and exact frustrations. We said, oh, you have leads? Okay, good. You have leads. Everything is good. Now let's try to solve this with this. Let's get you there. This is very cool. I think everybody should do this after every sales call without the ego or anything, because it's actually very fun to learn what we did wrong, right? Next thing, I asked about his biggest business challenges beyond just marketing. Okay. I don't think I believe I asked that. I was pretty much telling him what he could do, all these things. Identified a specific timeline and urgency improving his business. Exactly. These are big things. We didn't ask how fast do you want it, how bad do you want it, right? These things really matter. So let's keep going. I'm actually loving this Claude thing. I'm probably going to do this for every sales call now because this is fascinating to see, to get feedback. Now, the value-based approach versus feature dumping, which is, I'm pretty sure I did the feature dumping because I get excited about some of these things sometimes, even though I know that's not what you're supposed to do. I don't really have a script. I'm freestyling things. I'm more of a freestyling individual. As you can see this video right now, I'm freestyling. There's no script involved. Always been a freestyler when it comes to sales and these things. So maybe I overwhelmed Robert. I get the idea that I did that too. Probably I was drinking too much coffee earlier. That's why. So Sepp overwhelmed Robert with too many features and technical explanations. Instead, I would have this Claude account executive, $100 billion man. He would have tied each solution directly to a specific pain point Robert mentioned. Okay, I see where he's getting, which I think I did, but I guess you are correct. We're gonna have to see the video and the recording of the full call and ask maybe Claude to pinpoint exactly what it means, because in some cases I may have, I may not have, but we don't know until we kind of tie it down to what we're doing. Okay, so that thing is distracting us. Okay, so use return of investment calculation to stop his business. Oof, this is a serious one. This is something that I think I need to look at. It's been in the back of my mind for a long time to use unit case economics, things of that nature, these tools, sheets. So for future calls, definitely we're going to be looking at that. Right, so if we close one additional per month commission, this would represent a return on investments. Wow, that's actually a phenomenal use case. I'm glad I'm covering this right now on this exact video I'm showing you, because even Claude is pointing that out. So, provided concrete example of similar realtors in Robert's market who have succeeded with these techniques. That's something I could have done. I spoke about it, but we don't have these things crafted for presentation to show. So both these things I'm going to have to spend some time crafting, so these assets are being used on the call. And I think that's a very good point that Claude is making for us. So going on to the next thing, building trust first. Okay, Robert expressed moral concerns about AI, which he did. He said, I don't want it to be artificial, which Sepp didn't effectively address. Why not? I would have acknowledged his concerns more generally rather than dismissing them. Interesting. Position AI as an enhancement tool rather than a replacement for authentic relationships. That is a fact. AI could be a potential supplement. Hey, Robert, I understand your concern, but AI is actually a supplement to what you're doing. If you want to better serve your market, AI is actually a supplement. You take creatine, right? You take protein, right? Now, let's do the same thing for your business. Creatine and protein through AI. So that's cool. Very cool to know. Now we know the next, if anyone says that, we could use these. Now, if you're someone who hops on a lot of sales calls as well, I highly guarantee you go through this process, right? Because a lot of us, most of the time, we wait for maybe team members or someone else to come, an outside person to help us. But right now I'm seeing direct, flaws or things that could be improved on for the next future call. So I'll know to remember and do these things because I'm dissecting it myself. Someone isn't telling me, hey, I think you should do this, Sepp. I'm doing it personally. I'm dissecting myself rather than someone else dissecting it for me, which I think is much, much more valuable. And you remember it because it touches you in a different way, right? When you catch yourself doing something wrong, you usually remember it. When someone points it out to you, sometimes, the ego gets in the way or you just don't remember it. So I think this is the most powerful use case for Claude I've used this far when it comes to sales, and you should too as well. So let's see what else we got. We got offer testimonials from other realtors who have similar initial concerns. Okay, that's another thing we could definitely do. I did talk about similar conversations I've had with different realtors with similar concerns, but again, No testimonials, nothing to show for, nothing organized in a presentable manner. Present a case study showing the ethical application of these tools. I don't know if that's 100% the best use, but that's cool. You know, I'm not too worried about these ethical applications of these tools. Maybe some people are. Anyways, better objection handling. Let's wrap this up so we can go to what we have to do in the next section. Okay, when Robert said he needed to think about accepting and effectively address the underlying concerns, I would have used the feel, felt, found technique. I don't even know what that is. Feel, felt, found. I understand how you feel. Other agents have felt the same way. But I found was, Robert. Oh, this is hilarious. This is hilarious. Okay. On to the next. Ask clarifying questions to uncover the real objection. Was it truly timing, budget, or something else? I'm not sure. Offer a smaller commitment option to get started, like a trial period, which we could have with a specific measurable outcome. So in this case, this gentleman, Robert, he requested a callback, right? I set a date and a callback for him. So if that goes according to plan, good. If it doesn't, I think I can run with this free trial period just to, see what we can do, right? But that's objection handling is what we're after here. And I think Claude gives a decent approach to it, but I might have to dig into this a little bit more. So I'm going to copy that for further engagement. Let's see what else we have. Creating urgency without pressure. SEP tried to create agency with price reduction, which I did. Mistake on my end. which felt like pressure. Instead, I would have shared time-sensitive market data showing the cost of delay. Interesting. Offered a limited availability onboarding slot for serious clients. Presented a phased implementation plan starting with the highest return of investment component. Phased implementation plan. So I do have something like that, but we didn't get to it on the call. Clear next steps and takeaway. Rather than pushing for an immediate decision or settling for vague follow-ups, I would have proposed a specific next step, like a brief follow-up meeting with him and his wife. I don't know if I need to do that, but I did put the follow-up, which we already booked. We've done that. Offered to send case study addressing specific concerns. Well, what's his concern? His concern was I need to talk to my wife. It's too early for him. What was his concerns really? He didn't have concerns. He was basically on board, but he was giving rebuttals because according to him, he just invested a lot of things. So there was a lot of things on his plate. And maybe it might have bombarded him. Maybe we didn't hit the pain points. We didn't uncover exactly what his unit case was, but he's interested in information and he hopped on the call because he doesn't say no to information. Maybe he was just someone that likes to take information and not act on it. There's people like that. I don't know if you know a character named Myron Golden. He talks about the 4 different types of people you deal with. There's a free pole, there is the cheapo, right? Very interesting things he says. There's free pole. Free pole are the people that want everything for free, okay? And there's a cheapo that are the, people who are cheap. They want everything that's cheap. And there is, there's 2 other ones that he mentioned. I think he was a pre-pole, like premium, people that like things that are premium and they pay the money to get information. Last one, I can't really remember what the last one was. I might have to dig into that. So I think maybe Robert might be a free pole. Maybe we landed on a free pole. We don't know. At the end of the day, what we're trying to focus on using Claude is understanding rebuttals. So when we get on next calls, we know how to dissect the call much, much better. We have these assets that we've experienced in the past before. Like, for example, I was talking to his wife, this and that. In other scenarios, in other conversations, different products, different type of sales, I've used more aggressive rebuttal handling techniques. For example, someone would say, hey, I need to talk to my wife. I would say, why does she wear the pants in the house? So you see, every sales product that you sell is different. Now, when it comes to online sales, and this is different. It's more, you got to have more professionalism to it, I believe, because you're not in front of that person. They can't really feel your energy like that. But the one I just told you that was a little bit more extreme, that was more direct sales type of contact, right? So because you're very friendly, the person's in front of you, you're joking around, you can feel the vibe. It's a whole different setting, right? You can be aggressive. The person can't just click a button and hang up a call. But when it comes to, Zoom calls and these things, it's a different approach than a direct sales method, which I'm much, much more inclined and used to. So this is why we're finding out exactly what we need to do for future calls. So let's wrap this up with the clear next steps and the takeaways. Rather than pushing for an immediate decision or selling a vague follow-up, right, which we did, I would have proposed a specific next step, like a brief follow-up meeting with, okay, we just ran through this. Use a soft takeaway. Based on what you shared, I'm not completely sure, is this the right fit for your business right now? Let me ask you. For example, more about a specific situation, building trust, creating value-based urgency rather than pressure, I believe there would have been a much higher chance of closing this deal on the initial call or setting up a more concrete next step. Cool. So this was a one-call close, which I've been doing one-call closes. But I do understand what Claude is saying right now. Focusing more on a specific situation, the prospect's specific situation, building trust, and creating value-based urgency rather than pressure. So I'm not sure what he means by value. What do you mean by value-based urgent? Okay, let's understand exactly what Claude is giving us for these things. Value-based urgency is about creating compelling reason for the prospect to take action now by emphasizing what they stand, gain, or lose, rather than using artificial pressure tactics. For example, calculate the opportunity cost. Robert, you mentioned I have a listing sitting on the market for months. These properties don't sell. That's approximately 10K loss in commission. Each month you delay implementing a more effective lead system costs you about this much in potential business. Wow. That's actually insane. You know why? Because he did mention that and we let that slide, right? Whew, my man, this is insane. This is insane. Give me some interesting ideas that I may have to implement. So, connected to market time. Based on the current market data, we're heading into spring buying season where transaction volume typically increases by 30%. Facts, we are going directly into spring. That's coming up. There's a big come up. Getting the system in place now means you capture the surge rather than watching it pass by. Oh my God. Dude, this is insane. This is insane. Imagine having that with you. Highlighted the competitive advantage. Several agents in your area already have begun adopting these technologies. The early adopters typically see the highest return of investment because they stand out more. As more agents implement similar system, the competitive advantages diminish. What? This guy is too good. He's too good. Use data-driven projections. If we start, let me ask you something, Robert. Think of this as an example. Imagine if I had the rebuttal on me right then and there. If If we start implementing next week, Robert, based on our typical timeline, you'd begin seeing qualified leads by next Tuesday. This puts you in a position to close an additional $50,000, well, not 50,000, additional 2 transactions by next Friday. Would that cover the cost of your return on investment? This is fantastic. I really like this Claude thing, very entertaining. I'm probably going to have to do more of these on the next call, but based on what we have so far, what we learned is the value versus urgency. Like I said, what did I do wrong? I focused on, hey, Robert, the price is this, but let me knock it down for you so you don't have so useless, low level type of, rebuttals, low level, not value based. Instead, we could have came along and used these value based rebuttal, urgency tactics to focus on solving the person's problem, process problem. This is a whole different world. This is definitely a whole different world. So now we could get into dissecting more, but I think based on what we have, this is phenomenal. Let me ask Claude a question to see what he would say, what Claude would say to Robert when it comes to getting on a book call. Okay, so I'm going to ask him to use this cool tool I have. So what would be the best way to follow up with Robert as he agreed to give him a call on April 18th? What would you say to Robert on a call? He preferred text message, but we rather call him. What would you say him exactly to, spice up more value, as you say to him? Okay, let's see what happens here. All right. Using a system that I just use right now is actually pretty cool for prompting and doing these things. So if you want to find out more about that, maybe on future videos. Hi, Robert. This is Seb from Creative Process. I'm following up as I promised. Last time we spoke, you mentioned wanting some time to consider a lead generation solution. Since then, I put this market that might interest you. I analyzed the zip codes you mentioned, and we're seeing buyer being generated for about 270. Woof, buddy, this is insane. Can you imagine sending this? Is a hyper personalized outreach. This is hyper personalized. Not even in your greatest imaginations you're going to spend time doing this for a prospect. So if you want to become a savage in sales or just in general, you better just, hop on board with us, because we're about to do things that are outside the box and very cool. All right, so significantly less than 50% Zillow charge one of their clients. And small market is about 3%, meaning each closed transaction is costing around $900 in lead acquisition. That is a fraction of your commission. I respect that you wanted time to think through this, and I'm curious, have you had any other thoughts about automating your lead generation? Any specific concerns I could address about the approach we discussed? Yo, this guy is 100. I don't have the words for it. This is account executive. You're getting this for your pennies. If you're not using this, you're going to lose. I have so many emails right now, so many follow-ups that I just go and I send them a very low level, hey, just following up. Hey, quick question. Hey, did you get a chance to see this? Imagine if you were to implement this high level personalization. This is a different world of sales activity. I can't wait to start using it. I think we discovered something phenomenal today on this video, and I'm glad I recorded it. So you guys get to see it and implement it, and we can level up quicker. Everybody at the same time levels up. The whole point of this channel, leveling up. So if he mentions budget concerns, I understand budget concerns completely. Anyways, I think that's enough for today. What we discovered, something is incredibly powerful when it comes to sales. ChatGPT has not even came close to something like this that I've tested before. So, which is why I've actually not been dissecting calls before. That means we could have potentially been months ahead of schedule if we done this when we started out. Now, for me, I could show you the CRM here, but we got a pretty long CRM. So we started this about 3 months ago. I think we got about over 100 book demos, which is quite a bit, maybe 100 plus actual demos booked, not positive responses to emails, right? So people booked it, either they came on a call, show, no show, now we're following up. So that's a lot when you deal with it. If you close 20% of them at, whatever price point, you're dealing with some good numbers and traction. So if you're someone that's starting out, wants to start selling AI, wants to just start selling whatever value you think the market needs right now, or you want to understand what the market resonates, you want to find MVP, product market fit, definitely check us out for more. Planning on, shipping a community so everything gets organized. We have actual, system behind what we're doing. It's not just all over the internet, so people have to go around and look for these things. You can actually engage with us directly if you need to. So if that video was helpful to you, check us out for more below, and check out the description for more resources that you could use. Again, this was Sep. I'm glad I recorded this video for you, and for future calls I will be doing the same thing, hopefully to provide more value to you. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Take care for now. Ciao.